Danjo. How you doing, everybody? Here we are. All right. Walpole High School, home of the... Oh, I was hoping to see whatever their mascot is. I think it's a chupacabra, but that's just me. What are you doing there, kids? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't have a cup holder. And if it was Girl Scout cookies, I don't have the income for that. Oh, so I was listening to a friend of mine who was talking about he's part of like a group of they're like leaders, so like I don't remember what exactly he said, but it's people who are in a very similar leadership position. And you know how like all doctors have a doctor, and like all good psychiatrists, you know, have a psychiatrist, something like that. So he's a leader of something, and I'm not exactly sure what his title is. Did I already say that? But anyway, so he gets together with a bunch of people of a similar leadership. Wow, look at all that sand. Yikes. All right, that's good. That's a good thing to remember, huh? Because I turn in there all the time. Hey, a couple episodes ago, I was showing like sometimes I turn there, you know, and it's a shortcut. If the lights, well, I would have turned right onto that beach. Anyhow, so he said, so one of the leaders was saying, yeah, we're going to do a little team building. We're going to go do a little hiking or something in the White Mountains. That would be the White Mountains of New Hampshire. So something you got to know about New England mountains, or you know, mountains in New England or New York State, I guess even Maine, they're not, none of them, we're not talking like the Colorado Rockies or, you know, the Dolomites, or, you know, any of these Alps. We're not talking that kind of mountain, but they are fraught with their own great challenges. So, well, the guy said, you know, hey, we're gonna go on this, we're gonna go on a team building hike in the Whites, and there's a lot of mountains you can climb in the Whites. And my friend, he's an athlete by nature. He played a lot of basketball, he played baseball and all that, but right now he's got the office worker physique going on, you know, much like I've had various stages in life. And so, well, as it would turn out, it's Isolation Mountain, or Mount Isolation is the mountain that this guy is suggesting they climb. And Isolation is, you know, it's over 4,000 feet. Now again, the mountain climbing here is a little different than mountain climbing. So that's not to say that it's an easy climb by any stretch. You know, some of you guys, you know, out in the, you know, towards the Rockies or whatever, US or Canadian Rockies, might think that's puny, but it's certainly is a challenge. And but no, if you're climbing Isolation, it is, to get the way he wants to go, he's got to climb up an even taller peak so that they can then go down again and then up to the peak of Isolation Mountain. Then when it's over, they're going to turn around, go back up the taller mountain, which is the mountain right next to Mount Washington. It doesn't count as its own high peak though, because it's proximity. Yeah, it's too close to Mount Washington without enough of a dip in between to be considered its own peak. However, if it was, it would be amongst the tallest in the White Mountains. It'd be over 5,000 feet. So in fact, I think 5,500 feet, so over a mile tall. And again, this is not Rocky Mountain climbing. This is climbing in the, you know, New England area, which again, we're talking about a different set of challenges. So he's dreading. He's thinking like, oh, it's going to be like, you know, you park the car, get out, walk up to the top, maybe eat a little food, turn around, walk back down. But nope, this is going to be absolutely punishing. And to make it worse, this trip is happening within the month. And so there's his time to train within the month. So man, it just threw me back to my first time climbing a mountain in the Adirondacks. I had never climbed anything taller than Mount Monadnock. And when I was in, junior high school, this is before mono, I could run up Mount Monadnock, and then run down, but man, my first time in the Adirondack Mountains, we climbed a mountain called Big Slide. And Big Slide, I don't remember too much about it, except that within 10 minutes, all of my internal bells and whistles and alarms were going, uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. And that was within 10 minutes. We hadn't even reached the base of the mountain yet. And so climbing mountains around New England area, in the Adirondacks, which, you've heard the sob story that I've climbed somewhere between 22 and 25 out of the 46 before my knees went bad. But climbing these mountains, if you're not in I was in really good basketball shape, which is not the same thing as being in good mountain climbing shape. As like I said, I found out it would have been sometime in the first quarter of a basketball game, I realized I was in trouble. And you're talking like, you're walking up stuff. The stuff that you're climbing is literally like in front of your face. It's so steep. And your friend, you're walking single file, he's right behind you, and he's like, lower than you are. And so like, and it's muddy, and there are slippery roots, and there are rocks, sharp, some of them slippery, some of them you step on them and they roll away. And there's like tree branches and stuff, and trees that you can sometimes grab onto, and sometimes they kind of break away. And you start in the morning, everything is wet because you're in the mountains, and all the dew and stuff, everything is soaking wet. And then you start to sweat, so you get overheated, and you start to have a real bad time. And if you don't drink enough water, you're not going to make it. If you haven't eaten enough food, you're not going to make it. And it, climbing these mountains, it's like you got to try to do a peak, or if there are a few side by side, you got to try to do them all in a shot. So you don't stop if you can help it, because when you stop, it is really, really hard to get going again. Really hard to get going again. You sit down and your body wants to quit. And so, man, hearing my friend Eric tell about that story, I was like, dude, you are in for it. And I honestly, I'm being very transparent now. I did not think I was going to make it to the top of Big Slide. And then we had Mount Marcy the following day, which is the tallest Adirondack high peak. I didn't think I was going to make it up Big Slide. And I was thinking, if I just sit down here, they'll find me on the way back hours from now, maybe. And I can go back to the campsite, because we hiked into the campsite. And but I was like, they might not come back this way. I think we came down a different way. Anyway, that was not an option. I just had to do it. And so I just had to dig. I had to turn my mind off. And some of you who have done this know about that, or some of you runners or whatever. You have to get through the wall, turn the mind off, separate your mind from your body, so your body is hiking and walking and exerting itself while your mind is drifting somewhere else, and until you just get through. And why? Because you have no choice, and I vowed after that, after Big Slide, I will never go hiking again. And then the following year they dragged me out again. I was in better shape, I knew what to expect. And then I went, like I said, over 20 more peaks subsequently. But man, that first one was almost a deal breaker. I could see people who start out and then just quit, because it can be that terrifying. Because I didn't know what to expect, and I just thought, I can't do it, but I had to do it. You know what I mean? Have you ever been in a situation like that, where everything inside you screaming, you can't do this, you can't do this, but you just have to? And so you do it. Man, what a feeling. That's crazy. You know, I've had similar feelings, you know, like getting up in front of large crowds or whatever occasionally. Like, dude, I can't. But you just do it. You just, what are you going to do? You have to do it. So you just do it. Oh, what a life. We do this to ourselves. Anyway, Eric, you're never going to watch this moto vlog. But if you do, dude, I'm pulling for you. I'm rooting for you. You got this, man. You can make it. Everything in your body's going to be screaming, you're done. Just one step at a time. One foot in front of the other. And the view from the top, though, I'll tell you what, man, unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, and I climbed Lafayette in the whites, and we did that as part of a 4-peak loop. We had, it was like Lincoln, Haystack, Lafayette, and there was one more basin or something. They were all like boom, 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 like right in a row. And so I climbed Lafayette, which is the second tallest, and we chose Lafayette because it was part of a good loop, but also it was just a little shorter than Washington, and there wasn't a train and a gift shop at the top. We were looking to avoid the train and the gift shop. So when you're up on top of isolation and you're look for Lafayette, and know that partway up Lafayette is where we threw ice balls at each other because we got caught in a huge thunderstorm. All right, guys, let me know. Leave a comment. Have you ever put yourself in a situation like this? You ever go through something where you said, I can't do it, I can't possibly do it, and then you did it? Yeah, I'd love to hear about it, man. Love to hear about it. All right, guys, I care about you. Matt the Greeter. That dog peeing in public, not shy. You can do it. All right, guys, I care about you. Bye.